Jai Shri Ram. Let us begin by cleansing our bodies and our minds. हम अपने मन को और देह को पवित्र करते हैं भगवान के नाम से. So sprinkle water on yourself and on all the puja samagri. Om pavitrah pavitro va sarvavasthangatobhyah yah smaret pundarikaksham sabahyabhyantah suchi. Now you will take water, a drop of water in your right hand, and you will sip. You will do this 3 times. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Now you will take a drop of water in your right hand, and each time I chant a mantra, you will wash your hand. Om Rishikeshaya Namaha. Second time. Om Govindaya Namaha. तीसरी बार ओम मधुसूदनाय नमः. Now you will wear the Kuspaiti on your right hand ring finger. Om Pavitresto Vaishnavyo Saviturvah Prasava Utpunamya Chidrena Pavitrena Suryasya Rashmivih Tasyate Pavitrapate Pavitraputasya Yat Kama Pune Tachakeyam. With your right thumb, give yourself a Chandan Tika. Om Chandanam Vandate Nityam Pavitram Papanashanam Apadam Harate Nityam Lakshmir Vasatu Sarvada. Light your diya. Om Bho Deepa Tvam Brahma Rupa Andhakara Nivaraka Imam Maya Kritam Pujam Grihastejo Pravardaya. Om Deepaya Namaha. अच्छा, अब हम वेद मंत्र से शुरू करेंगे. Om 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 Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti Puja Moolam Guru Padam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. Om Swastina Indro Vridashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Taraksyor Arishtademihi Swastino Brihaspatirdadhatu. Om Paya Pritivyam Paya Oshadhishu Payo Divyantarikshe Payodha Payasvate Pradeshah Santu Mayam. Om Vishnu Raratamasi Vishnu Shnaptretho Vishnu Syurasi Vishnu Dhruvasi Vaishnavamasi Vishnavetva. Om Agnir Devata Vato Devata Suryo Devata Chandrama Devata Vasavo Devata Rudra Devata Aditya Devata Maruto Devata Vishwe Deva Devata Brihaspatir Devatendro Devata Varuno Devata. Om Dhyau Shantir Antarikshagvam Shanti Prithvi Shantir Apah Shantir Oshadhayah Shanti Vanaspatayah Shantir Vishvedevah Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvagvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi. Om Vishwani Deva Savitara Duritani Parasuva Yad Bhadrantanna Asuva. Om Ano Bhadrah Kratavo Yantu Vishwato Dabdhaso Aparitasa Udbhida. Devano Yatha Sadamed Vridhe Asanna Prayuvo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. ओम देवानां भद्रा सुमतिर्ऋजु यत्तां देवानागम रातिरभिनो निवर्तताम् देवानागम सख्यम उपसे दिमाभयम देवान आयु प्रतिरंदु जीवसे ओम तान् पूर्वयानि विदाहुमहे वयं भगं मित्रम् अदितिं दक्षमस्त्रिधम् अर्यमनं वरुणग्वं सोममश्विना सरस्वती नः सुभगामयस्कर ओम तन्नो वातो मयो भुवातु भेषजन्तन्माता पृथिवी तत्पिताद्यो तद्ग्रावाणः सोमसुतो मयो भुव तदश्विना शृणुतन् दिश्न्यायुवम् ओम तमीशानं जगतः तत्पुरुषस्पतिं धियं किन्वमवसे भूमहे वयम् ऊषानो यथा वेद साम सद्वृदे रक्षिता पायुर्दब्धः स्वस्तये ओम स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तारक्ष्योररिष्ठनेमि स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम पृषदश्वा मारुतः पृश्निमातरः शुभं यावानो विदथेषु जग्मयः अग्निर्जिह्वा मानवः सूरचक्षसो विश्वेनो देवा अवसागमन्यः ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येम आक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवाग्वं संस्थनोभिर्व्यशेमहि देवहितं यदायुः ओम शतमिन्दु शरदो अन्तिदेवा यत्रानश्चक्राजरसन्तनूनाम् पुत्रासो यत्र पितरो भवन्ति मानो मद्यारि ऋषितायुर्गन्तो ओम अदितिर्ध्योर अदितिरन्तरिक्षम् अदितिर्माता स पिता स पुत्रः विश्वे देवा अदितिः पंच जना अदितिर्जातम् अदितिर्जनित्वम् ओम ऋचं वाचं प्रपद्ये मनो यजुः प्रपद्ये साम प्राणं प्रपद्ये चक्षुश्रोत्रं प्रपद्ये वागोजः सहोजो मयि प्राणापानौ ओम तं पत्नीभिरनुगच्छेम देवाः पुत्रैर्भ्रातृभिरुतवा हिरण्यै नाकं गृभनानः सुकृतस्य लोके तृतीये पृष्ठे अधिरोचने दिवः ओम आयुष्यं वर्चस्य ग्वं रायस्पौषमोदभिदम् इदग्वं हिरण्यं वर्चस्व जैत्राय विशतादुमाम् ओम द्यौ शांतिरंतरिक्षग्वं शांति पृथिवी शांतिरापः शांतिरौषधयः शांति वनस्पतयः शांतिर्विश्वे देवाः शांतिर्ब्रह्मा शांति सर्वगं शांति शांतिरेव शांति सामा शांतिरेधि ओम यतो यतः समीहसे ततो नो अभयं कुरु शन्नः कुरु प्रजाभ्यो भयन्नः पशुभ्यः ओम शांति शांति सुशांतिर्भवतु ओम हे रंब त्वमे हेहि अंबिका त्रयंबकात्मज सिद्धि बुद्धि पते त्रयक्ष लक्ष्य लाभ पितुः पितः नागास्य नागहारत्वं गणराज चतुर्भुज भूषितः स्वायुधे दिव्यै पाशांकुश परश्वधै आवाहयामि पूजार्थं रक्षार्थं च मम कृतो इहागत्य गृहान् त्वं पूजां कर्तुं च रक्ष मे। ओम मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये। अंजनीगर्भसम्भूतं कपीन्द्रं सचिवोत्तमं रामप्रियं नमस्तुभ्यं हनुमान् रक्ष सर्वदा। ओम ध्यायेत् आजानुबाहुं धृतशरधनुषं बद्ध पद्मासनस्थं पीतं वासोवसानं नवकमलदलस्पर्धिनेत्रं प्रसन्नं वामाङ्कारूढ सीतामुखकमल मिल्ललोचनं नीरधाबं नाना अलङ्कारदीप्तं ददतमुरुजटामण्डलं रामचन्द्रम्। ओम यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति देव्यैस्तवैर् वेदे सांग पदक्रमोपनिषदैर् गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानंदं कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वंदे परमानंद माधवम्। ओम शांतं पद्मासनस्थं शशधर मुकुटं पंचवक्त्रं त्रिनेत्रं शूलं वज्रं च खड्गं परशुम् अभयदं दक्षिणांगे वहन्तं नागपाशं च घंटां डमरुक सहितं अंकुशं वाम भागे नाना अलंकार दीप्तं स्फटिकमणिनिभं पार्वतीशं नमामि। ओम या कुंदेन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्र वस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदंड मंडितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वंदिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेष जाड्यापहा। ओम लक्ष्मी क्षीर समुद्र राजतनया श्रीरंगधामेश्वरी दासीभूत समस्त देव वनितां लोकैक दीपांकुरां श्रीमन्मंड कटाक्ष लब्ध विभव ब्रह्मेन्द्र गंगाधरां तां त्रैलोक्य कुटुंबिनीं सरसिजां वंदे मुकुंद प्रियाम्। ओम सीताराम पवन सुत हनुमान राधे कृष्ण की जय।
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार वरनो रघुवर विमल यश जोदायक फलचार बुद्धहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय चरण सीता मन बसिया, सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिया दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा, भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे, लाए सजीवन लगन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए, रघुपति कीन्हि बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई, सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे, सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा, नारद शारद सहित ईशा, यम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते, तुम उपकार सुग्रीव कीन्हा, राम मिलाइ राजपद दीन्हा, तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना, युग सहस्र योजन बल भाना, हृदय बसो सुरभूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। सीता हरण किया रावण ने, प्रभु जी थे कुलाल। हनुमान ने सीता जी को प्रभु संदेश सुनाए। सीता हरण किया रावण ने, प्रभु जी थे कुलाल। हनुमान ने सीता जी को प्रभु संदेश सुनाए। हनुमान जी करते आए प्रभु जी के गुणगान। हनुमान जी करते आए प्रभु जी के गुणगान। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। लगी लक्ष्मण जी को शक्ति देख प्रभु घबराए। और सबले हनुमान जी दौला गिरने आए। लगी लक्ष्मण जी को शक्ति देख प्रभु घबराए। और सबले हनुमान जी दौला गिरने आए। कुछ बैठे लक्ष्मण जी लेकर श्री राम का नाम। कुछ बैठे लक्ष्मण जी लेकर श्री राम का नाम। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। वानर सेना देख के रावण की सेना घबराए, पलक झपकते हनुमत ने लंका में आग लगाए। वानर सेना देख के रावण की सेना घबराए, पलक झपकते हनुमत ने लंका में आग लगाए। बोले प्रभु के साथ मिटाकर रावण का अभिमान, बोले प्रभु के साथ मिटाकर रावण का अभिमान। मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम, मेरे मन में बसे है राम, मेरे तन में बसे है राम। चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान, चीर के छाती बोले अपनी पवन पुत्र हनुमान। मेरे मन में बसे राम, मेरे तन में बसे राम, मेरे मन में बसे राम, मेरे तन में बसे राम, मेरे मन में बसे राम, मेरे तन में बसे राम। ओम सीताराम पवन सुत हनुमान, राधे कृष्ण की जय।
Jai Sri Krishna to all of you. Thank you, Rajiv ji. That was really beautifully sung, I'm sure. And I know that we all thoroughly enjoyed that bhajan, Mere Man Mein Base Hai Ram, Mere Tan Mein Base Hai Ram. So this is actually one of the central teachings of Sanatan Dharma, that we all have a spark of God in us. So our verse today is verse 35 from chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. So you can follow the verse on your screen. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo भयावह। हम लोग एक बार फिर इसको दोहराते हैं। Let's repeat this verse. श्रेयान स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावह। श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावह। Acha, now we're going to look at the meaning of this verse. And before we look at the holistic meaning of what Sri Krishna Bhagwan is saying to us in this verse, let us look at the individual words. Sure? The word Shreyan, so the verse starts off with the word Shreyan. Shreyan means better. Right? Shreya, in another context, Shreya means effort. Here, Shreyan means better. So, Bhagwan is using the word better. So, obviously, he's going to compare two things in this verse. If he's using the word better, there's going to be a comparison. So, Shreyan means better. Swadharma means one's own duty. The word swa refers to the self. Swa refers to the self. Para refers to somebody else. So, swa is a prefix in Sanskrit, like you get prefixes in English language as well. So when the word swa is used with the word dharma, dharma means duty, it means religion, it means lots of things. Here, Krishna Bhagwan is using it in the sense of duty. So when he says swa dharma, he's talking about one's own duty. Vigunaha. Vigunaha means devoid of merit. In other words, something that does not bring meritorious rewards is vigunaha. Paradharmat, now the word paradharma comes in. I told you the word para means another person and something else. The opposite. Dharma is again duty. So paradharmat means the duty of another person. Swanushtitata. Swanushtitat means that is well discharged. Something that is done. An activity that is done. Swadharme, the word swadharma is used again in this verse, again referring to one's own duty. Nidhanam. Nidhanam means death. Now, we must be careful because there's also another word that we have which is called nirdhana. So you have nirdhan and you have nidhana. Nirdhan means without wealth. Nirdhan means without wealth. Somebody that is maybe materially poor, we refer to that person as nirdhana. But the word nidhana means death. So here the word nidhanam means death. So it must not be confused with the word nirdhanam. Nirdhanam means without wealth, but nidhanam means death. So the word nidhanam is used in this verse. Shreya, the word shreya comes in again, which means better. The word paradharma is used again, which is another person's duty. And bhayavaha, bhaya means fear. So bhayavaha means it is filled with fear. It is fraught with fear. So Sri Krishna Bhagwan is saying in this verse that it is better to perform swadharma. It is better to perform your own duty, even though you may not excel in what you are doing. But because it is your own duty, it may be devoid of merit, it may be vigunaha, it may not bring about any kind of meritorious reward for you. But the fact that you are doing your own dharma, Krishna Bhagwan says that is better, it is shreyana, than paradharma, than performing somebody else's duty. He says, better is death in swadharma. So a person should give up this life performing swadharma rather than performing paradharma, which he says is fraught with fear, which is filled with fear. Now, there are various ways in which we can understand this verse that Bhagwan Sri Krishna has shared with us over here. See, if we look at this in terms of, let's say, the ashramas. So there are 4 ashramas in a Hindu's life: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. And each stage, each ashrama has allotted duties that have to be performed. So when a person is in brahmacharya stage of life, he or she is in the brahmacharya ashram, there are expected duties that a person should perform. Performing the duties of a brahmachari in the brahmacharya stage would be the performance of swadharma. Trying to live the life of a grihastha, enjoying sensual pleasures in the stage of brahmacharya would be tantamount to doing paradharma. So similarly, in the grihastha ashram, one should perform or act in accordance with the rules as stipulated for a grihastha. And somebody who is in the vanaprastha stage, we don't expect that person to behave like a grihastha. Or somebody who is in the sannyas stage, who is in the last ashram, we don't expect that person to behave like a householder, still yearning and running behind worldly pleasures. So we must understand this verse in one way, on the basis of the 4 ashramas in life. Each ashram has particular activities that need to be performed. So the brahmacharya must perform his duties or her duties and not worry about what the grihastha is doing. So that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at this is to look at the varna system. The varna system means the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Again, there is a swadharma. There are allotted duties for the Brahman. There are allotted duties for the Kshatriya. There are allotted duties for the Vaishya, and there are allotted duties for the Shudra. And these duties must be performed, and a Brahmin should not try to do what a Kshatriya is doing. A Kshatriya should not try to do what a Shudra is doing. A Shudra should not try to do what a Vaishya is doing. However, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra is determined by natural tendencies. What are your natural tendencies? Are you inclined to perform business? Is your nature such that you excel in business? Then you are a Vaishya. Doesn't matter which family you are born into. If you are, if your nature dictates that you should be in the ruling class, that you should be protecting, then you will perform the duties of a Kshatriya. And if you have the tendencies of a Brahman, then you will perform those duties. So whether you are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra is determined by what are the natural tendencies that you have. And in accordance with those natural tendencies and not your birth, you will then perform your swadharma. So if I am inclined, if my natural tendencies are that I behave like a Brahman who is calm, who has knowledge of the Vedas, who has studied scriptures, etc., then my duty is to share that knowledge with others. And I should not now try to be a businessman and do what the businessman is doing. Because if I do that, then Krishna Bhagwan says that you are now getting into a realm which is paradharma, which is fraught with fear, which won't bring good results for you. See, another way of seeing this verse, and especially for those of us who are parents, again, sometimes I feel that, because I'm a physician, I already have a well-established practice, my children must also become doctors. As a parent, I don't look at what are my children's natural tendencies. What are they inclined towards? Instead, I'm more interested that my business, practice must continue and my family must come in. So I force my child into a field that he might not have natural tendencies for. Or I force my child to join the family business, whereas he has no interest in business. So even here too, we must be careful, because what the child should be allowed to enter into a career that fits in with his natural tendencies, so that he can, as per the Bhagavad Gita, perform swadharma, perform his own duties. So when we look at this verse, we can understand it, from different perspectives in life, different things. So when it comes to ashrams, when it comes to the varna system, or whether it comes to, we should be performing our own duty. Even if your duty may seem like it is mundane in comparison to another, Krishna Bhagwan says, don't transgress and try to perform paradharma. It is better to die performing your own dharma than, in other words, according to your own natural tendencies, than to perform the duty of some other person. Jai Sri Krishna.
Jai Shri Ram. We are going to commence with Ramcharitmanas, and we are going to be reciting Doha number 161, and we will do the explanation of that as well. We will commence first with the Ramayan Stuti. जो सुमिरत सिद्धि होय सीताराम गणनायक करिवर बदन करो अनुग्रह सोय सीताराम बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदन मूक हो ही बाचाल सीताराम पंगु चढ़हि गिरिवर गहना जासु कृपा सुदयाल सीताराम ध्रुवो सकल कलिमल दहन नील सरोरोह श्याम सीताराम तरुण अरुण बारिज नयन करो सो मम उर्धाम सीताराम सदा क्षीर सागर सयना कुंद इंदु समदेह सीताराम उमारमन करुणायन जाहि दीन परनेह सीताराम करो कृपा मर्दन मयन वंदो गुरुपद कंज सीताराम कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि महामोहतम पुंज सीताराम जासु बचन रवि कर निकर सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय। कथा आरंभ होत है सुनो वीर हनुमान हे रामा सुनो वीर हनुमान आसन को प्रभु आई है सिया सखा सहित भगवान सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय। अब लगी मोहिन मिले हूँ कोहु मैं न जानहु काहू लोक मान्यता अनल सम कर तप कानन दाहू तुलसी देखी सुवेशु भूलहि मूड न चतुर नर सुंदर के की पेकू बचन सुधा सम असन आई सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय। ताते गुपुत रहु जग माई हरि तजी किमपि प्रयोजन नाई प्रभु जानत सब बिनहि जनाए कहु कवनि सिद्धि लोक रिझाए तुम सुचि सुमति परम प्रिय मोरे प्रीति प्रतीति मोह पर तोरे अब गो जो तात दुरावहु तोई दारुण दोष कठई अति मोई जिमि जिमि तापसु कतहि उदासा तिमि तिमि नृपहि उपज विश्वासा देखा स्वबस कर्म मन बानी तब बोला तापस भग ध्यानी नाम हमार एक तनु भाई सुनि नृप बोले पुनि सिरुनाई कहु नाम कर अर्थ भखानी मोह सेवक अति आपन जानी आदि सृष्टि उपजा जब ही तब उत्पत्ति भय मोरी नाम एक तनु हेतु तेहि देह न धरी बहोरी। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय। Jai Sri Ram. We are continuing with the Katha of Raja Pratap Bhanu, our Kapata Muni, the deceitful person who is in the disguise of a Muni. And at this point in time, we are going through the conversation that is occurring between the two of them. And the Kapat Muni is saying to Raja, अब तक न तो कोई मुझसे मिला और न मैं अपने को किसी पर प्रकट करता हूँ. He is now trying to win this king over, to completely convince him that he is to be trusted. And how does he do that? He's bragging about his spiritual, whatever he has achieved, his spiritual achievements. So there's many ways to convince people in the world to trust you. The last one that we should rely on is flowery speech. To determine whether we can trust somebody or not, ideally we should observe their actions for some period of time. Because words are actually meaningless if they are not backed up by such actions. And he is saying to the Raja, until now, nobody has been able to meet me or see me, and I have not also made myself visible to anybody. Such is the nature of my spiritual powers. क्योंकि लोक में प्रतिष्ठा अग्नि के समान है और तप रूपी बन की भस्म कर डाली. He says to be well known or famous in the world causes the virtues of one's penance to be burnt to ashes. So while this Kapat Muni is, we know that he is deceitful, some of the words he is speaking are indeed truthful. They make sense. So when somebody acquires or has engaged in penance and has done lots of good things, one of the worst things that can happen to him is for him to become famous. Because fame can sometimes cause the ego to grow. And once the ego starts to grow, it becomes like a fire that simply burns all the virtues and turns it into what? Bhasma, into ashes. Perhaps it is for this reason that many of the true seekers on the spiritual path, the more progress they make, either the more careful they get in the way they interact with people, or secondly, the more they isolate themselves from people. And perhaps this is why they go into mountains and caves, etc., and engage in tapasya. I have also known some Swamijis in recent times who go into a period of isolation, sometimes 2 weeks, where they simply shut themselves out from the world, where they can really focus and connect with the divine. So perhaps constant mingling, uncontrolled mingling, is not the best thing for spiritual advancement. तुलसीदास जी, in the Sorta now, तुलसीदास जी कहते हैं, सुंदर वेश देकर मूड नहीं, चतुर मनुष्य भी धोखा खा जाते हैं. So he says that in this world here, it is not only the foolish people that get fooled by good looks and outward appearances. Even intelligent people get fooled with this. And so you must be really, really wary. So it seems like the outward appearance of people can actually take over our good sense of judgment, can overcome our good sense of judgment. And this is what he is saying here. Sundar मोर को देखा, उसका वचन तो अमृत समान है. So he says, if you look at the peacock bird, it is exceedingly beautiful. And what does the peacock do? You will see from time to time, it spreads its tail out, stands it up upright and spreads it out. And you see these bedazzling colors, excessive beauty, unique colors. Or fear, uski vani to amrit samane. So the vachan or the vani of the speaker, it also makes very, very pleasing sounds. If you listen to it, it is melodious and it kinds of enraptures your mind. But he says, the same peacock that you perceive to be very, very beautiful, the same peacock that is making these wonderful sounds, do you know what it eats? Snakes. So that same mouth, which is seemingly pleasing, snakes and the poison of snakes also go through that same mouth. So don't be fooled by the outward appearances. This is what he is trying to say. इसी से मैं जगत में छिपर रहता हूँ. For this reason, I have isolated myself and separated myself from the rest of this world. श्री हरि को छोड़कर किसी से कुछ भी प्रयोजन नहीं रखता. He says, besides Shri Hari, focusing or giving my attention and time to Shri Hari, I'm not interested in anything else. तो बिने जानिए ही सब जानते हैं. Says Shri Hari, without anyone telling him what's going on in the world, he knows what's going on. That is why I focus on him. Okay? So Shri Hari, Bhagwan, is Sarvagya. He knows the past, he knows the present, he knows the future, and he knows about everything, everywhere that is conceivable to the mind. Sarvagya. And he says, because Shri Hari knows everything, I just focus on him. Fir kaho sansar ko रिझाने से क्या सिद्धि मिलेगा? What kind of benefit will I get if I associate with the world? That is why I have only associated with Shri Hari. Such great words of wisdom coming from who? The worst of the deceitful people. See, he talks about Yasu Veshu. Vesh means appearance. And to further illustrate this point, we also know that Ravan, when he was going to abduct Mother Sita, how did he come? How did he approach her? Sadhu ka vesh. He came in the vesh of a sadhu, of a holy man. Dhoti, jineo, tilak, mala, and the begging bowl. That is how he came. That is sadhu vesh. But what was his intention? His intention was not to do anything pious. His intention was to gain her trust so that she would come outside the area that was demarcated for her protection, and he could then abduct her. So some commentators say that Mother Sita represents the mind, and the mind gets captured how? When we trust that which is false, when we trust the Maya of the world rather than the master of Maya, then the mind gets kidnapped, the mind gets captured by this Ravan, the one that takes control of us. So Vesh is not something that we should be totally convinced about. Appearance. Tum pavitra aur sundar buddhi wale ho. See, the best way to win somebody over is to praise them. But an intelligent person is not won over by praise. It is for this reason that Bhagwan says to us in Bhagavad Gita that we must not be heavily swayed by praise or insult. Sometimes the person who insults us or tries to bring us down sees our true value. That's why they're trying to insult us, maybe out of jealousy. So Bhagwan says, don't pay too much of attention to the insult. It may actually be a compliment in disguise. Similarly, don't pay too much of attention to the praise, because perhaps somebody is praising you because they want something from you. इससे मुझे बहुत ही प्यारे हो और तुम्हारी भी मुझ पर प्रीति और विश्वास है. So this Kapat Muni is saying to the Raja that, see, I hold you very dear to my heart. I have a lot of affection for you, and I trust you completely. Then he says, hey Tat, oh my dear son. You know, when somebody addresses their child as hey Tat, it is one of a lot of affection. Instead of calling a child by the name, when you say hey Tat, it gives an indication of your affection for that child. Sometimes people will call their child Putra. Hey Putra, that is also affection. And this is what he is trying to show, win him over using this affection. Ab yadi main tumse kuch chipata hu, to mujhe bahut hi bhayanak dosh lagega. He says, I will be making a terrible, terrible mistake if I keep away great secrets from you. So this, you can see here that systematically, this Kapat Muni is showing us the various methods that are used to convince somebody of something. He started off by saying, what? I have a lot of affection for you. He also spoke about how spiritually evolved he is. So he praised himself in the process. Then he says, I want to tell you my greatest and most confidential secrets. I want to share the most confidential knowledge with you. Now, the minute you tell somebody this, I want to tell you something, but please don't tell anybody else. Nobody else knows. Very often that person's ears stands up like this. They become very interested in what you are saying. So this Muni knows that. And we must be wary of what is going on here. We should not become too interested in people's secrets. Unless it is your guru who is tried and tested and is imparting knowledge to you, that's a different situation. Jimi jimita pasutatahi udasa, timi timinrupahi upaja viswasa. The more this Muni spoke and spoke as he was going on with his discussion, the more and more trust the king started to have in him. Systematic psychology, some of the most devious people are excellent in psychology. They will actually turn around a situation where they are implicated in something. They will turn it 360 on their head simply by distracting you, moving away from the truth. जब उस बगुले की तरह ध्यान लगाने वाले मुनि ने राजा को कर्म, मन और वचन से अपने वश में जाना, तब वह बोला. Watching and observing. So these people who plan these things, they watch and observe, and they know what to say at the right time. At the time when you are most receptive, that is when they will act. And what did he do? He brought the Raja under his control or trust in various ways. Karma, man, or vachan, by the way of talking about his actions, by capturing his mind, using his speech, he brought him under his control. And when he saw that the time is right, then he started to speak now as if to put the final nail into the coffin, to put the cherry on the cake. This was the right time. He says, hey bhai. Listen how he started. Hey tat. Now he's gone to hey bhai, my dear brother. Hamare naam ek tanu hai. Says, my name is Ek Tanu. Ek means one and Tan means body. Person with one body is called Ek Tanu. Right? यह सुनकर राजा ने फिर सिर नवाकर कहा. Listening to this, the Raja bowed his head and he says, मुझे अपना अत्यंत सेवक जानकर. I am your greatest servant. I fully surrendered to you. Okay? इसीलिए अपने नाम का अर्थ समझाकर कहिए. Please tell me the greatness, the true meaning of your name. Ek Tanu. Why do you have this name here? And obviously nobody else knows this name of yours. And I unfortunately have to keep you in suspense for next week to know why this person used the name Ekatanu. कथा विसर्जन होता है सुनो वीर हनुमान, आसन को प्रभु जाइए सिया सखा सहित भगवान, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय। जय श्री राम।
जय शिव शंकर जय शिव शंकर जय शंकर बोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। जय शिव शंकर जय शिव शंकर जय शंकर बोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। महादेव तूने ही तो सब देवों का संताप हरा, सागर मंथन में निकला विष तूने अपने कंठ धरा। महादेव तूने ही तो सब देवों का संताप हरा, सागर मंथन में निकला विष तूने अपने कंठ धरा। इसीलिए हर प्राणी तुझको नीलकंठ बोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। जय शिव शंकर जय शिव शंकर जय शंकर बोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। तेरे नाम ने को बाबा तेरी महिमा न्यारी, तेरे दर्दनों के सबसे क्या जाने संसारी। तेरे नाम ने को बाबा तेरी महिमा न्यारी, तेरे दर्दनों के सबसे क्या जाने संसारी। तू ही है कैलाशपति तो पर्वत पर डोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। जय शिव शंकर जय शिव शंकर जय शंकर बोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। शीश तुम्हारे गंगा मैया चंद्र शिखर पे सो है, तन पे सर्प विचरते रहते भक्तों के मन मोह है। शीश तुम्हारे गंगा मैया चंद्र शिखर पे सो है, तन पे सर्प विचरते रहते भक्तों के मन मोह है। उसको कैसा कष्ट जगत ने नाम तेरा जो ले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। जय शिव शंकर जय शिव शंकर जय शंकर बोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। जय शिव शंकर जय शिव शंकर जय शंकर बोले, सब देवों में देव निराले जय बम बम बोले। जय बम बम बोले जय बम बम बोले। ओम सीताराम पवन सुता हनुमान राधे कृष्ण की जय। जग में सुंदर है दो नाम, चाहे कृष्ण कहो या राम। जग में सुंदर है दो नाम, चाहे कृष्ण कहो या राम। बोलो राम 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 बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम, बोलो राम 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 बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम। जग में ब्रज में एक चुरावे, एक पैर बिलनी के खावे। प्रेम भाव से भरे अनोखे दोनों के काम, चाहे कृष्ण कहो या राम, जग में सुंदर है दो नाम। बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम, बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम। एक हृदय में प्रेम बढ़ावे, एक तप संताप मिटावे। दम दम गर गर सन सन सारे गा। एक हृदय में प्रेम बढ़ावे, एक तप संताप मिटावे। दोनों सुख का सागर है और दोनों पूरन काम, चाहे कृष्ण कहो या राम, जग में सुंदर है दो नाम। बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम, बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम। एक कंस पापी को मारे, एक दुष्ट रावण संहारे। दम दम गर गर सन सन सारे गा। एक कंस पापी को मारे, एक दुष्ट रावण संहारे। दोनों दीन के दुख हरत है, दोनों बल के दाम, चाहे कृष्ण कहो या राम, जग में सुंदर है दो नाम। बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम, बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम। एक राधिका के संग राजे, एक जानकी संग विराजे। दम दम गर गर सन सन सारे गा। एक राधिका के संग राजे, एक जानकी संग विराजे। चाहे सीता राम कहो या बोलो राधे श्याम, चाहे कृष्ण कहो या राम, जग में सुंदर है दो नाम। बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम, बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम, बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम, बोलो राम राम राम, बोलो श्याम श्याम श्याम। ओम सीताराम। पवन सुत हनुमान, राधे कृष्ण की जय। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। भक्त जनों के संकट, भक्त जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, जो जावे पल पावे, दुख बिन से मन का। स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का, सुख संपत्ति घर
गौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णुः मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय तनोहरिः। सर्वमङ्गलमङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते। ॐ यानि कानि च पापानि जन्मान्तरकृतानि च तानि तानि विनश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सत्कमया तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमया। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ अपराध सहस्राणि क्रियन्ते अहर्निशं मया दासोऽयम् इति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व परमेश्वर। आवाहनं न जानामि विसर्जनं पूजां चैव न जानामि क्षमस्व परमेश्वर। अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्य भावेन रक्ष त्वं परमेश्वर। बोलिए विघ्नहर्ता गणेश भगवान की जय। जगत जननी पार्वती माता की जय। शिव शंकर भगवान की जय। सीता रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। लक्ष्मण जी की जय। महावीर स्वामी बजरंग बली की जय। श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय। श्री बालकृष्ण भगवान की जय। गंगा यमुना सरयू सरस्वती मैया की जय। श्री राधे कृष्ण भगवान की जय। सब पितर देव की जय। ओम नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हर। जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। जय सिया राम।